Hey, everybody. Wow.
Good morning, everybody. Here we go. Getting those pictures up. Hi, Tony. Good to see you, buddy. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. We got a great session for you guys today. We're very fortunate. We are very fortunate to have a wonderful guest with us today. So
today's my birthday, John.
Well, happy birthday, Bill. How many years on this planet is this for you?
66.
Oh my God. My God, you are right behind me, brother. Well, good for you. God bless you, man. Good to see you. Thank you for being here this morning on your birthday when you probably rather be out on your yacht, you know, just sipping mimosas and chilling, right?
I'm going to have sushi for lunch today.
You're going to have sushi for lunch?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Bill, you know what I had for breakfast?
What?
Gefilte fish.
Oh, yummy.
Welcome to Meet the Biz. Okay, today I'm very excited because I think I officially met this man several months ago at a party, and from the first moment I met him and his beautiful wife, I just was like, you know, it's one of these energies that you get from people that you just go, a friend, a family member, you know what I mean? This man, well, you know what? Before I introduce him, Chris is gonna show a little video. So I'm gonna have to, Chris, throw on that little video of just a tiny portion of this man's glorious career. And we'll start with that, and then we're gonna have fun with Barry Pearl.
This is the main brain, Vince Fontaine, beginning your day with the only way. Music, music, music. Get out of bed, it's the first day of school. Don't be a slob, don't get a job, go back to class, you can pass. And to start the day off nice and fine, I'm gonna play a new old favorite of mine. I saw my problems and I see the light. We got a loving thing, we gotta feed it right. There ain't no danger, we can go too far. We start believing now that we can be who we are. Grease is the word.
Do a split, give a yell, shake the tips are all right there.
Guys, be cool, huh?
They think our love is just a growing pain. Why don't they understand it's just a crying shame? Their lips are lying, only real is real. We stop a fight right now. We got to be what we feel. Grease is the word. It's that you heard. It's got a groove, it's got a meaning. Grease is the time, it's the place, it's the motion. Grease is the way we are feeling.
It's like a beautiful blonde pineapple.
We take the pressure and we throw away. Conventionality belongs to yesterday. There is a chance that we can make it so far. We start believing now that we can be who we are. Grease is the word. It's got a groove, it's got a meaning. Grease is the time, it's the place, it's the motion. Now
Welcome to Meet the Biz. Today, I'm very excited to introduce Mr. Barry Pearl. Ta-da!
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Who was that young man in that video? Who was that guy?
Hey, I think you're related.
We may be. Very well may be. You tell by the nose.
Oh, is that? Yeah, I've got nose too, which I
Hi,
love.
folks. Hi, everybody. Let me see you wave. Hey, everybody hear me? Great.
I love it.
Well, this
Well,
is exciting.
This is, we have, oh my God, we have so many members today. I love it. Performing Arts Studio West has over 100 members, actors, singers, dancers, creators, animators. So we have it all, and we're just so happy. I mean, of course we say Grease is the word, and that is just a speck of what you have done. I mean, My Favorite Martian, of course, Bedtime with Barney, Imagination Island. Plus, I mean, the touring companies of Grease and Barney, and then of course Superior Court. I could list. You know what hit me when I was first looking through your bio, through your website, through your IMDb, was you were in the original production of Bye Bye Birdie on Broadway?
Yes, I replaced Johnny Borden, who played the role of Randolph McAfee. And when he left to star with Molly Picon in a new play, a new musical called Milk and Honey,
Yeah.
It's a long story as to how I got there, but I replaced him for the last month on Broadway. And then I did the first national tour and the Las Vegas company of Bye Bye Birdie. Those were my beginnings in that particular show. The first rock and roll musical, when you think about it.
Wow. I mean, and the list, I mean, of the musicals you've been on Broadway. How long were you in New York or the East Coast before you moved to Los Angeles?
So I actually moved overnight, literally overnight, from my home in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I was active in community theater there, and I had done a production of a play called Dark at the Top of the Stairs that was being done at the famous Fulton. It was called the Fulton Opera House, now the Fulton Theater. And there was an aspiring playwright from New York who, because he had to pay the rent, he was jobbed into Pennsylvania to run the lights for this play. And he took a liking to my mother and myself. And he told my mom, one of these days, I'm going to get your son on Broadway. And 2 years later, he happened to be friends with the secretary of the producer of Bye Bye Birdie, and knew that they were looking for a replacement for Johnny Borden. And he called my mom. He said, come on in, I got an audition for your son. I went in by train like the next day and never went home. I auditioned and I got the gig, and I started rehearsal the next day. My mom enrolled me in professional children's school. This was at the end of August. Well, yeah, sometime in August of 61. And a couple of days later, actually, my mom missed my opening because she went back home to gather up our things, and they had told her that I would be on by that Monday. Well, I went into rehearsal Wednesday and was on by Saturday.
Wow.
And then she came back, and we lived in New York. Well, we stayed in New York, of course, until the end of the Broadway run. That was for a month, and went out on tour and came back and lived at that point in time at the Belvedere Hotel, the famous Belvedere from 42nd Street. And then went back out on the road with Oliver pre-Broadway, came back with it on Broadway. But to answer your question, I was doing that kind of thing from 61 to 76. And that's when I moved out to California in 76.
Now, what brought you to, you said overnight to California. What brought you?
Well, it was overnight to New York and kind of overnight to Los Angeles, for that matter. In the spring of 76, I was doing an off-Broadway show, and I had auditioned for a new series called Best Friends. It was actually a pilot for a series called Best Friends, created by Alan Sachs, who created Welcome Back, Kotter, that John Travolta starred in. And I auditioned for this and didn't get it initially, but a week later, I got a call saying from my agent saying they're firing the guy they hired. They didn't care for him very much. And they wanted me to get onto the next plane and fly out to California. So I did that and kind of was a bit of a hero. The piece was directed by Jerry Paris, who directed every episode of Happy Days. And he took a liking to me. And later that year, when the pilot didn't sell, he said, come out to California. You can stay with my family and me, and you know, you can get your legs out here because you'll work. So I took him up on it, and I moved lock, stock, and barrel out to California. And within a week, I auditioned for CPO Sharkey with Don Rickles that had already done its pilot, and it was picked up. Yeah. And they were looking to replace Jeffrey Kramer, who was playing the role of Pellegrini. And so they had me play the role of Mignoni, the recruit. And that was my first gig. I did the first season of CPO Sharkey, but got written out on my birthday, which, by the way, is at the end of this month. Whose birthday is it today? It's I
think we have a couple.
Yeah, a couple birthdays today, huh? Wow. So mine's the end of the month. And they called and told me that my contract wasn't being picked up. I was devastated. But had that not happened, I wouldn't have been able to do Grease. So one door closes, the other opens.
It's so true. It's so true. And sometimes we go, why is this happening? And then if you just breathe with it, you'll notice, wait a minute, what's that door that's open?
Right. Well, the light at the end of the tunnel often looks like a truck coming at you. Say that a lot. That wasn't something I made up, something I heard a long time ago, but it's so true. Because right in the moment, you don't know what's in store. Yeah. That's just like, you know, when we shot the film, we didn't know that it was going to be the hit that it became. Yeah. Everybody says, how did you guys know? No, nobody has that kind of crystal ball. Yeah. You do your best work and you hope for the best. And we got the best.
Well, I know on Broadway, didn't you were in actually a different role in Grease, correct?
Yes, I never did the Broadway company, though a lot of my friends did. I did the first national tour. Again, I replaced Michael Lembeck, who was playing Sonny.
Okay.
And that's a whole story. He broke his ankle, and I auditioned for it. And I was going to Carnegie Mellon University at the time. I was a student there, and in my senior year, the first half of my senior year, I had started work with the Chicago Free Street Theater the summer before my senior year, and the Street Theater was going to Europe in the fall, and my professors at Carnegie Mellon said, you know, we'll give you credit for your work there. So I went off to Europe with Street Theater. When I came back in January, I went back to school, and friends of mine that I was going to school with kept telling me how much I reminded them of their friend Michael Lembeck. Well, Grease comes into Pittsburgh in the national tour. One of my buddies from the Street Theater was now in the show, and he invited me down to see the show. And Lembeck was playing Sonny. And when he came out on stage, it was like watching myself. I got on the phone with my agent the next day. I said, you got to get me on audition for this. So within a week or so, I was in New York at a general audition for any future replacements.
Right.
And a couple of weeks later, Michael Lembeck broke his ankle, and they called me back in to do a call back, and I got the gig. They wanted me to come right away to Toronto, but I had 2 weeks of my senior year to finish.
Right.
So they said, go ahead, you do that. We'll bring you up to Detroit. We'll be at Detroit by that point, which they did. And I understudied the understudy, basically. They threw their understudy on. So when I went up there, I just basically concentrated on that role of Sonny. And during my time up there, I had gone to Jerry Zaks, who was playing Kinnicky. Jerry's become a very famous Broadway director. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, do you mind playing sick for one performance so that I can go on? And he said, well, only if the stage managers say it's okay. Well, I knew that wasn't going to happen. And he said, no, they said no. But on Saturday morning, May 19th of 1973, I get a call in my hotel room telling me that Jerry Zaks is sick and that I am in fact going on because they threw their understudy on as Kinnicky. So I stepped on stage for the first time at the Fisher Theater playing Sonny on May 19th of 1973, and 4 years to the day later, May 19th of 1977, I got the role of Duty in the movie.
So how did that come about? I mean, I mean, here you are, you get into the touring company and you're playing all the different roles, but then you got the role in the movie.
Yeah, well, I only played the one role in the play, the role of Sonny.
Mhm.
And we were told that the people that had anybody who'd done the play weren't going to be contenders for the film. But then I got an audition for it. Joel Thurm, the casting director, had the wherewithal to bring us in. It was Michael Tucci had done he was one of the understudies in the cast that I was in the first national tour. Jamie Donnelly, of course, I think she did the Broadway version of with Jan. Playing Jan. Carol Culver was Patty Simcox. She was our dance captain in that company. And who else? Well, Jeff Conaway, of course, the late Jeff Conaway played. I saw him play Zuko. He was a great Zuko. And so it was Tucci, Carol Culver, Jeff, and John Travolta was actually playing Duty in the play.
Oh, wow.
And I was doing Sonny. Now, the role of Duty in the movie is basically Sonny from the play. And the role of Sonny from the movie is Roger from the play. And Putsy is really Duty. So,
well, it's easy for you to keep track of.
Yeah, right, truly.
Oh,
So that was how we auditioned, and they liked what we did. Alan Carr, may he rest in peace, was a big champion. He was the man who produced the movie, and he really loved us and put together a great team of people. And we were all very good friends and still are to this day. And I think that's part of the reason why it's such a success, because you see that camaraderie, that love that we have for each other. And that translates, that spills over the screen into the audience.
Yeah, it sure does. And I think that's why it's made it such a classic.
It has.
Yes. And I was mentioning before, I mean, that is just a tiny part. I mean, it's a huge part, but you have so much that you've been doing, and, family and camaraderie. Of course, you worked in the movie with John, but let's talk about Joey Travolta.
Yeah. So Joey has a company called Inclusion Films. And I'd gotten a call 9 years ago from his wife asking if I wanted to come and teach. And by that point, I was teaching improvisation. I started teaching improv in 1979, the Viola Spolin theater game method. Mm-hmm. And I was able to bring that method as, my avenue, if you will, to the film arts. And it works beautifully. Everybody loves to improvise. And so I started working with Joey, and we go all around the country for 2 weeks at a time in each city. And we develop 3 7-minute films with 3 different classes and 3 PSAs, 3
camps.
In the camps, the film camps. And then usually in January, they do these wonderful red carpet events where they exhibit those films.
Right. It's such a great experience to have.
Wonderful. Well, like you're doing here, very much like you're doing here.
Well, and Joey came, what was it? Right before the pandemic, we had Joey and most of the cast from his wonderful feature film that I cast.
Was it not Carol the Bells?
Yes.
Oh, it was Carol the Bells.
Carol of the Bells. And we had a red carpet here. And everybody got to schmooze and ask questions. It was nice. We missed those in the actual building, but soon enough we're going to get back to those.
They're already starting in-person interviews again in New York, I hear.
Yeah.
Back to that. I much prefer that than these self-tapes. I really do. Because you get to play the room. You get to meet the people, and they get to see you live and in person. And I see a lot of hands up. Is that because people have questions?
We do. In fact, let me start getting some hands, because I know people sent in, and we have hands there. For those who sent in, I want to try to get up first. You know what? I see Pam Roca, and I know that Pam, you sent in a question as well. So I'm gonna add you here. There you are, Pam.
Hi, David.
Hi, Pam.
Hi.
There's Barry for you.
Hey, oh, Barry, oh, I love Grease.
Oh, thank you, Pam. Thank you. You have a question?
My question is, how did you get an audition to be in Grease? I loved all the casts in there. All my
Well, once again, the process is that you have a casting director, similar to what David does, and they contact all these talent agents and with what they call a breakdown and what they're looking for, a character breakdown, what they're looking for with each character. And the agent then says, well, I have this, and this in my stable. And he puts a pack of pictures together, or she puts a pack of pictures together and sends them to the casting. And that's what they used to do in the old days. Now it's all by computers and thumbnails and such. And the casting director, Joel Thurm, who knew my work, said, well, yeah, let's bring Barry in. So I went in and I sang. And I think the next thing they had us do was read. And then we were called back to dance and to sing and to read again. And they paired us up. And at the end, like I was telling David, on May 19th of that year, it was down to the final 5. It was Jeff and Kelly and Michael and me. Of course, when I say 5, and the girls too, the 3 girls, Stockard Channing and John and Olivia, they were in the mix already. Yeah. But the T-Birds and Pink Ladies came to learn our wonderful fate on that very day. They told us that very day, you're the guys and gals. We were thrilled.
Oh, I love it. Wonderful question, Pam. Thank you.
Yeah,
welcome.
I love it. Let's see who we have next here. Let's see. I see Lanzarod Record. Lanzarod. There we go. Hey, Lanzarod.
Hey, Barry.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Okay. How long did it take you to learn the lyrics of the song in Greece?
How long did it take me to learn the songs in Greece? That's always different, Lanzarod, depending on how complicated they are. I mean, I already knew the songs from having done the play, but of course, we didn't sing You're the One That I Want in the play. That was a replacement song. But all the other songs, most of us already knew. We Go Together, Summer Nights, Grease Lightning. And there were songs that we did in the play that we didn't do in the film. For instance, Duty in the film sings Magic Changes. Now you hear that music in the background during the dance contest, but it's not sung. And again, the character of Duty, I wouldn't be singing that anyhow. It would have been Putsy who would have sang it, because he embodied the role of Duty in the film. But we rehearsed for 3 weeks before we went before the cameras. So we had all that time to learn. And then You're the One That I Want was pre-recorded. That's not even us singing. That's a whole other group of people. But it looks like us because you see us singing, but that's really not us. That's not our voices. So we had 3 weeks to rehearse, and then we did it as kind of like as a play, and then we started shooting the film.
Yeah, thank you.
Love it. Good question.
Thank you.
All right, let's see who we have next. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, there we go. We have Alexandra Hart. Alexandra Hart, we're gonna get you on right now. 1, 2, 3.
Hello. My question is, if you had a favorite performance piece, which will it be?
If I had a favorite performer's piece, did you say?
Performance piece.
Oh, well, what is my favorite performance?
Yeah.
So what was my favorite thing that I've ever done? Is that what you're asking? There's so many of them. I love playing Professor Tinkerputt in Bedtime with Barney. That was a real favorite of mine.
Why did you enjoy that so much?
Why did I? First of all, the people that I worked for were amazing. Lovely, wonderful, giving, available people. Jim Rowley was our director, and we shot it down at the studios of Las Colinas in Dallas. and everybody was so hospitable. And they also, Stephen White wrote the piece, and they let me contribute, which most directors will do, depending on the piece. If it's something that's already been tried and true, there's a certain construct that you have to live with inside. But when it's a brand new piece, there's a lot of room for invention. And they really let us do that. And working with the actors, with David Joyner and Bob West, who were Barney and Barney's voice respectively, and the kids, it was just a wonderful, delightful, terrific, creative experience. So that's high up there on the list.
Yeah.
Alex, that's what I would.
Yes, and I have a last question.
Yes.
Out of all the songs of Greece, what would be your number one pick?
What would be what?
Out of all the songs in Greece,
Yeah.
which one will be your pick?
Oh, which is my favorite?
Yeah.
Gosh. Well, my favorite song to listen to from the play was Mooning, but that's not in the movie. And the character of Roger sings that song in the play, and that was my favorite from the play. I think that I like, well, I love listening to Olivia sing Hopelessly Devoted.
Oh.
And I loved creating Grease Lightning. And I loved Summer Nights too, for that was the first one we did. It's very hard, it's very hard to say, because I just love there's something about each one of them that I love doing, And I love the opening title tune, the Grease. That's a very hip tune, written by the Bee Gees, sung by Frankie Valli. So, and I love the way Frankie Avalon sings Beauty School Dropout. So it's hard to say, what I'm saying?
They're all the songs. I mean, listening to that at the beginning today, I was just like, oh my God.
Great tune. It's a great tune. Yeah.
Thank you, Alexandra.
Thank you.
I want to continue bringing everybody's questions on, but I also know that beside acting, you produce, you direct. What is your biggest joy?
My biggest joy is working.
Whether it's any one of those.
Yeah, I mean, they each of those disciplines have specific gratifications.
Yeah.
I love working in live theater. I love performing in live theater because I love the sound of the laughter and the applause, and how we can manipulate the moment and manipulate the audience, take them on a journey. That's really exciting and fun for me to do that. Making films, working in films, of course, you rehearse to a perfection, and then there it is. Oftentimes, it doesn't kind of look the way I would like it to look, but that's just me, Right. There are certain places in Greece that I say, oh, why did I do that? And then there are places that I say, yeah, I hit the mark there. So, that's part of the filmmaking process that I enjoy, yeah. or get disturbed by, but it's all part of it. And directing, of course, you're painting the pictures. It's your total vision. And to put all those pieces together like a puzzle, and then sit back and watch what you've done and how the paints, the elements, the actors and the designers, how they all put together your vision. That's very exciting too. Yeah. And producing is, of course, the larger of that. You're hiring all the people and putting all that together, and then letting them do that other creative stuff. So that has its what do I say, upsides to it as well as its downsides. But they all have specific gratifications. They supply me with specific gratifications.
Right. It's you're teaching me about stuff that I might have known about, but then it's like, oh, okay, that's the part I was missing about that particular. So thank you about that. And teaching, I mentioned.
I
you
was
were
going to
teaching.
say, and then teaching is a whole other thing, my gosh, to say something, to show something, to give an example, to impact someone in a positive way where they learn something from me. That's very exciting. That's very, very exciting that I have left a particular mark. You know, I've read this often, and it's a saying that I have at the end of all of my emails, and forgive me that I don't know it by heart. But, and I probably do, but I don't want to not do it justice, so I'll read it to you. And it's something that I take to heart all the time. And it is a quote by a man named Friedrich Buchner. And it goes like this: the life I touch for good or ill will touch another life, and that in turn another, until who knows where the trembling stops or in what far place my touch will be felt. And that's kind of what, what we're all doing in the arts. I mean, in many areas, but especially in the arts, that you never know who it is you're going to impact, for good or ill, as that quote states. And you're hoping that it will be for good.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. That's going to be stuck with me now.
Good. Friedrich Buchner. Yeah, well, it's in my emails to you. I think if you
I see it.
It's under there. It's a great quote.
Yeah, but it's interesting to hear it from you is even more powerful. So
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice.
I think we have one of the birthday boys today. I think it's his birthday today. Mark Pulver. Mark Pulver, are you there? Is it your birthday? And you have a question, right?
Yes, it is. It is my birthday, and Mazel Tov. Thank you for thinking about me. I'll remember you, David, in my will.
Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov.
Yeah, you doing, Barry? What spiked your interest in the film industry? I'm curious. What spiked your interest?
Well, it goes back to what I watched when I was a kid. I was introduced to the big screen when I was very young. My aunt, may she rest in peace, and my grandmother, may she rest, and my mom, they would take me to the movies. And my senses were assaulted. I mean, I couldn't wait. I wanted to meet Kirk Douglas after seeing 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Jimmy Stewart after seeing Rear Window, and the stars of the remake of Imitation of Life. Those are the first three films that I remember ever seeing. And then on television, watching The Three Stooges. I was impacted by what it is that was entertaining me. And I remember when I was 12, my Aunt Rose bought me a wind-up 8mm Brownie camera, and I would make home movies. And I had an editor, and I edited them all together, and I learned to edit inside the camera, because those are wind-up cameras that have 15 seconds. So I would improvise movies, and so I do a shot, and now I was out of that wind up. I had to wind it up and I had the wherewithal to take another angle so it didn't jump. I just had that sense, having watched so much film and television. So I think that's probably the process that's at play for everybody that starts out, that is initially impacted. I think it's by what it is that they either read or watch or listen to. Music also was always playing in my home, and all of those arts elements come together and created my desire to want to do everything.
Wow, fantastic. It's a privilege and an honor to get to be here with you. Not everybody in the world gets to do what we're doing at Performing Arts Studio. I'm blessed to be in this family. I came like in 2019 to be a part of this, and this is going to be, I'm here for the duration. This is my new family. I'm originally from Florida, but now I'm a Cali boy.
That's great. Where in Florida?
Miami area.
I'm
going next week next week to have Pesach with my mother. And if I don't do it, I'll hear about it for the rest of my life if I miss
course.
one Pesach
Of
with her.
course. I'm actually going to be in Boca.
You know,
I'm going to be in Boca from the 3rd of April until the middle of May, till May. I'm going to be doing a play at the Wick Theater in Boca Raton, a play that is actually a jukebox musical. It was a music of Neil Sedaka. So I'm going to be down there in that area. How far is Miami from Boca? Do you know offhand?
Yes, I do. It's about, without traffic, it's about an hour away, and it's like Boca is like 30 miles to the north, just before West you hit Palm Beach.
West Palm, yeah. Oh, that's great.
West Palm and Delray, and Deerfield and Delray, that area. So I'll be there around that time and be back here in May. So I'll be there around the same time you. Hot, humid South Florida.
Hot and humid, yes, I'm sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. That's
Okay.
great.
Thank you.
And it's interesting, Barry, when you were saying, about your Aunt Rose. It
Yeah.
was like, oh, I had an Aunt Rose.
Everybody has an Aunt Rose. Everybody has an Aunt Frida. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So it just brought, words and memories and connections. And then the Browning camera. I didn't have the video camera, but I have the little snapshot
Oh, I had one of those too.
with a little, the light bulb that you could use
That's
once.
right. I had one of those too. Gray. It's gray. They were gray, like a kind of a blue gray.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I still have it in our
I still have
garage.
it too. I've got them too.
I took it to Camp Arazim.
Camp. I never went to camp.
No?
That's why I also love film camp so much, because I never had the opportunity to go to camp when I was a kid.
Right?
They never sent me away to camp. No, because my aunt and uncle had a farm in southern Lancaster County. I had my own camp.
I love that. I love that.
I had the swimming hole and fishing and riding tractors and Shetland ponies. And so, I didn't have to go anywhere other than, 14 miles away.
Wow, I love that. Yeah. I used to, during the summer, I worked for my dad. So I wasn't riding ponies. I was driving a forklift. So I was at his work. It was lovely being with Dad. I'm glad I didn't take up the business. Hey, I see Igor Zaninovich. Let's have you come on and ask Barry a question.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be here. And thank you so much for taking my question. I was just wondering, the Grease film, by the way, for the record, came out in 1978. And I was just wondering, how long did it take you to actually film the whole entire film?
It was a 15-week process before the cameras, and then there was post-production for a couple of weeks after that. We went into the studio the recording studio to sweeten the soundtracks, basically.
Okay.
So 15 weeks of principal photography.
Great, a long time.
Yeah, it was a nice long time.
I'm glad you made it through, and it's an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to speak with you. And I want to wish you all the best and nothing but, and all the best, and God bless, and have a great day, and stay healthy and stay safe.
Thank you, Igor. Back to you. The same thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Sweet.
I love that. We love Igor.
We
we are a family here. It's really, and I tell you, this family of performing arts has really kept me going for many years, in many different ways.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We now have the lovely, the talented, the beautiful Ashley Anderson. Ashley Anderson. Hi.
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 What question do you have today, Ashley?
You have a question for me, Ash?
Yes. Is I working with John Travolta?
What was it like working with John Travolta?
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. John and I had done the play together. and briefly. And he was a really sweet kid and grew up to be a very, very sweet man. Very giving. Again, very available. You know, he doesn't walk around with his nose in the air. He's a real human being, a real down-to-earth guy, and just a pleasure to work with. And everybody that you talk to will tell you the same thing. Just a really delightful man, and a family man too. Has 2 children. Well, had 3. His son Jet passed away, unfortunately, and his wife just passed away too, Kelly. But he's a really strong human being and a very talented human being. I'm a big fan of his work, and just an all-around great guy.
That's so good to hear. So good to hear. You wonder about certain people in the business, and when you hear these good stories, it's
yeah. Oh yeah, he's a good guy.
Thank you, Ashley.
Welcome.
You know, I think we have another birthday boy there, Mr. Bill James, right? You had a question today, Bill?
Yes, I do. How did you get that flying? How did you get the car to fly?
Oh, that's all. That all happens in post-production. So what they do, and I wasn't there when they did it, but they have the car. I believe they have the car on an angle, and then they shoot when they turn around and they wave. They're shooting up at them on an angle, and the same thing when the car is when we're looking at them driving, the camera is looking down on the car like this.
Pretty cool.
You know,
Pretty
and
cool.
then what
I have
they'll
one
do
more
is
question for you.
go ahead.
And I was in a movie called Becoming Bulletproof Jackson. I played the chicken sheriff, and it was really good, from Zeno Mountain
I
Farm.
love that film.
You should watch it. It's on net Amazon, I think. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. What's the name of the film again?
It's already done.
Yeah, what's it called?
Yep. And I played the chicken sheriff. And
What's the name of the film? What's the name of the film?
Becoming Bulletproof Jackson. It's a great document, and it's the camp's called Zimmerman Mountain Farms.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Vermont.
They do a lot of films. It's interesting how many wonderful like inclusion films, Performing Arts Studio West, Actors for Autism, Born to Act Players, farms. There's all these beautiful families that who knows, maybe one day we'll all come together to do one big show or something. I love it. Thank you, Bill, and happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, Bill. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
I see Miss Ranjani Reyes.
Hey!
Oh, there we go. Okay, I just saw you there. Hold on.
Okay.
I know. Where are we here? Wave your hand and say hello. I'm going to search for you here.
Hello.
Hello. I know you're there. I know you're there. Keep on speaking.
Yep, I'm the biggest, huge fan of Grease.
There she is.
Excellent. Excellent. Why do you like Grease so much?
Because we did the song Summer Lovin' at Portrait Players. It's so much fun. So I had a great dancing questions. Okay, Mr. Barry.
Yes.
I like your character of amazing on Grease. So do you dance with John Travolta during the Grease Lightning?
What about dancing with him in Grease Lightning? What was your question?
Did you like making like dancing mistakes in Grease Lightning?
Did we have any mistakes, did you say, during the...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there were a lot of mistakes. I can't think offhand, and that's why they'll yell cut and start again. But I can't remember specifically. But sure, there were a lot in all the numbers. that will happen, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody's not in the right place. At one point during, I think we were filming We Go Together at the end, Andy Tennant, I think it was doing a backflip.
Yeah.
He flipped right into the boom of this this huge boom on the camera and bruised his calf, I want to say. So
ooh, that's really bad.
Things like that happen, you know, and you got to cut, you got to start again. And when we were shooting down in the riverbed, the first day of shooting in the LA riverbed for the race, the water down there is really contaminated, and our director was in shorts, and he had a cut.
Oh my God!
He had a cut on his calf, and got infected. We had to cancel the next day's shooting.
Oh no!
And that was thousands of dollars down the drain. But he had run a fever, and he got an infection. But then he was okay. I gave him a bunch of penicillin. He was fine, I guess, by the next day. But yeah, mistakes happen.
That's good. I had a similar Grease, like Grease musical and Grease in original. Do you like to work with John Travolta or my favorite girl, Vanessa Hudgens? Do you like?
I'm sorry. Do I like working with? What was the second one? There was Grease.
Grease Live with my favorite girl, Vanessa Hudgens, or John Travolta. It's like similar.
I loved working both of those projects for different reasons. I mean, it's a whole different group of people, very talented group of people in Grease Live. My God.
Yeah.
So I loved working with both casts.
That's good. They're like similar classes, like original, or which one is better, original or Alive?
They were both wonderful, and for different reasons. It's really like, it's almost like comparing apples and pears. I mean, they're different people, they're different performances, and they were each wonderful. Aaron Tveit, for instance, played Zuko. He was amazing.
Yes.
And Travolta's amazing. And Jeff Conaway, when he played Zuko, was amazing.
Yeah.
And
I like Zuko, like Danny.
What's that?
I like Zuko. I watched the whole movie. So
yeah. Well, you know what? That's such a good question, Ron Johnny. Thank you for that. About, especially, it's brought up again that you did the touring company, you did the movie, and then you came back years later to do the live. How is that? How does that happen?
Wonderful, good fortune. I, again, auditioned for it. They wrote the role in. I don't know if they wrote it specifically for me, but I think they wrote it in order to have one of us as a little bit of an Easter egg, what they say. And of course, Dee Dee playing Vi made perfect sense. And then to have the both of us in there, I went in to meet with Tommy Kail, the director, and he felt like it was meeting royalty, and I felt like I was meeting royalty, with Tommy.
Yeah.
And it was just a mutual admiration society, and it was a wonderful experience all the way around. I was honored to be a part of that.
I had such a crush. You mentioned Dee Dee. I had such a crush on her growing up. So it was so interesting. I know that Antonio Williams, can you, Mr. T-Bone himself, I know he wanted to ask a question. So here you are, T-Bone.
You asked one of my questions, but I would like to ask, what is the difficult, what is the most difficult job that you ever done? And have you ever worked with somebody that you didn't agree with?
Yes. Yes, there have been several people I've worked with that I did not agree with. Absolutely. And it happens. I can maybe count it on my one hand. There have been several things that I've done which have been uncomfortable. In fact, even in Greece, before we fly across at the end of Beauty School Dropout, I've always wanted to fly. I always had a desire to get hooked up in that professional rig. It's Flying by Foy was the company that's known for this kind of thing mainly. And I always wanted to do the Peter Pan thing. Well, finally we get a chance to fly in Beauty School Dropout, and it was very uncomfortable. They put us in this rig that was basically a pair of jeans that were cut off at the knees and that were lined with lamb's wool. And then on the thigh, they had them tied up like shoelaces, like shoes, to take the weight off of our center section, off of our crotch. And it was still very uncomfortable. We literally hung around all day, and it was very uncomfortable. So doing that, I did a piece with the late Rene Aubergenois called "Portrait of a Hero as a Young Man," where he played Washington, and we had to perform out in the mud, in the cold, catching pigs.
Did that persuade you? Did that persuade you to want to continue your acting? And did you? What was the most important? What is the most important thing in your life today?
The most important thing in my life today are my wife and my cat. And my family, I should say, and my friends too, but the most important person is my wife. And I was not dissuaded, no. There are ups and downs. It's a job, you know, and you know what? The job is getting the job. That's the hard part. When you finally get the job, that's when you're able to play. You know, maybe that's why they call it a play, because we're playing characters. I'm stretching it a little bit, but you know, I'll take the bitter with the batter. It's the circle of life.
Yeah.
You know, but as I say, out of manure, flowers grow.
That's true. Beautiful flowers.
Out of all the muck and mire and the mud in life, oftentimes you'll get a nice, fragrant, beautiful flower.
Oh, and I tell you, you know, talking about a flower, I met your beautiful wife, Cindy, and she, yeah, you know, whenever I, you know, remember that time that we all hung out, she just brings so much joy to all of us. So yeah,
she's quite something, isn't she?
Yeah, she
keeps
sure
me
is.
in line.
I saw a few other hands and a few. Oh, Miss Zuli Johnson. Let's see Miss Zuli Johnson. I know she asked to. There we go.
I'm so honored to meet you, and so I like the movie Grease too. That's why I wear pink. My question is, what the unique experience in your students who are special needs to able to learn in film arts?
So I didn't catch all of that about some of my special needs students. Ask your question again, Zuli.
Okay, what the unique experience in your special needs students and to able to learn in film arts?
So what kind of unique experience have I had? Is that correct, Zuli? What unique experience can I? There are so many of them, and here's the thing. How can I explain this? I'll start out by saying that I never cease to be surprised at how my students achieve. However, there's a problem with that, with being surprised. And that is, I had to have started out thinking that my student wouldn't be able to achieve the goal. And then when they do, I'm very surprised, though it's very pleasantly surprised, it's wonderfully surprised. Through the years, I'm doing my best just to assume that they can achieve and not be surprised, if you understand my meaning. That being said, that when I first started out, especially my first year, I always cite this particular example where I had just done an exercise that I felt a particular student wouldn't be able to accomplish. And I wanted to move on so that this person, I wouldn't bring this person up and have them embarrass themselves in any way, let's say. And the person insisted on doing the exercise. I said, all right, come on up. I'll do it with you. And I did it with the student. And the student said something and did a certain thing that blew my mind and made me think, wow, why did I even ever think for a moment that this person could not do what everybody else in this class was able to do? So at that point, I said, you stay up here. Everybody else is going to play the game with you now. And that kind of thing happens time after time. The people in my special needs classes are constantly achieving. And that whole surprise thing, it's a double-edged sword, because I love being surprised at how well they do, but then being surprised again, there's that element of maybe they won't be able to achieve it. Oh, wow, they did. Well, what about that first part of it? You know, I don't like the fact that I assume, and incorrectly so, oftentimes, that the person isn't going to make the grade. You know what? Does that make sense, David? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm pointing out a bit of a failing of my own that I'm constantly, trying to beat down.
Thank you so much.
Pardon me?
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. And you know what? I don't think it's a failing. I think, especially because you realize it. You realize it. The failing would be if you didn't realize it, right?
That's the David, that's the saving grace. But it's still not as pure as I want it to be.
Right.
And maybe it's just really, I've told this story so many times, and yet so many times I walk away saying, wow, that turned out better than I thought it would. Well, why did I even think it wouldn't, turn out great? So
yeah,
it's these old bones.
Well, gorgeous that we are human and we can go through all this. So
there is that.
I want to thank you so much for being here. I wish you could come back and teach a class.
Oh, thank you. I'd love to at some point in time.
It would be a joy. So
sweet of you, David, and thank you so much for having me, guys and gals. I mean, this is always great for me. I love y'all. It goes without saying. It's why I've been doing this, working with Joey for the last 9 years. It fills our hearts. And thank you for your talents, everybody.
Well, thank you. We love you for being here, and you're part of the PASW family and the Meet the Biz family now. So thank you.
Yeah, we got you. We got you now, Barry.
Well, thank you for including me. I mean, it's all about inclusion. So thank you,
man. What a wonderful, wonderful time to be able to spend with you today, you guys. Guys, let's give it up for Barry, man. That was just awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barry.
Bye, everybody. Have a great spring.
Bye, Barry.
Thank you, Barry.
Thanks, guys.
I miss Barry.
Bye, John.
Bye-bye now.
Don't forget to go to Spec Labs, Barry.
What's that?
Don't forget to go to Spec Labs.
Spec Labs, yes. Thanks.
Hello, too, David.
Bye, guys.
And that's all, folks.
How was that? Wasn't that fun?
It was.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.